Blog Talk Radio.
You're listening to LGBTQ America. I'm Brandon Carmody. We want to welcome our listeners in the United States and around the world. From the Evening Standard, Olympian Tom Bosworth said he believed a fear of abuse on social media was why more sportsmen and women did not come out as gay. The Team Great Britain race walker, the first openly gay British track athlete, revealed he and his fiancée received around 100 abusive messages online after getting engaged during the Rio Olympics. The 26-year-old proposed to longtime partner Harry on the Copacabana beach in August. My guest today is Tom Bosworth, out Olympian, race walker, 5-time British record holder. Tom, we want to welcome you back to LGBTQ America.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Nice to speak with you. So you are just wrapped up from the Summer Olympic Games in Rio. I'm so excited to hear about that. What can you tell us?
Unbelievable. I really can't put it into words how exciting it's been, from everything from competing to obviously the proposal, which was really exciting.
Definitely. So congratulations to you and Harry on your engagement. So on August 15th, you tweeted a photo with the caption, "He said yes," where all of our LGBTQ listeners are dying to hear the story. What can you tell us about the engagement story that happened during the Olympics?
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe how crazy it went and how much media we got because of it. I mean, I was just getting over the race. Obviously, finishing sixth in the race and breaking the British record was amazing in itself. And that was my main focus, obviously, going into the Olympics. But I always had the plan to propose. And Harry was out there with my family, and it was his final day in Brazil at the time. So he kind of thought, it got leaked in the media back in the UK that I was going to propose potentially. So I left it to his final day. So it kind of threw him off a little bit. And he said he didn't expect me to do it on that last day on the beach. So I'm glad I got a bit of surprise back to it.
That's great. Now, truth be told, did you have a ring? Like, did you kind of have a plan in place and you were just kind of, waiting for the right moment? Did you have a ring on standby?
Yes, yeah, I bought the ring at Heathrow Airport before I left. So I'd done my research for about 2 years prior, because he was very specific on which ring and the model and the style he wanted. So I had to do my research and save up and bought it up my way. But my original plan was to do it up at Christ the Redeemer, a real iconic spot, but it was so busy and there were so many tourists. I thought this wouldn't be special enough, so I picked a quiet evening on Copacabana beach instead.
Nice. Now, you were talking about how much press. You're not kidding. So I have the Guardian pulled up in front of me. Folks, just take a listen to how the media sort of puts Tom on blast here. Olympic marriage proposals continue with Tom Bosworth popping question to boyfriend. And then, in the subnotes, it mentions the fact that this was the third Olympic proposal, almost like it was like a boom season, like one, oh my God, there's another one, and then another one. Is that true? Were there a lot of proposals during the games?
Yeah, I think there was 5 in total. Some of them got a little bit of negative press, though, because some did it at medal ceremonies and things like that, saying, it took away from their special moment. And I think, had it been the other way round at the end of my race, if Harry had proposed, I would have been like, no, put it away. This is my moment. Put your ring away. I don't want to propose now. This is my race moment. So I kind of understand that. But yeah, I left it a few days till after I competed, and yeah, I didn't realise there'd been 3 at that time, or I think I was the third. I think 2 more followed as well. So it just shows how important the Olympics is to kind of creating relationships and having that moment to share with the person you love the most.
Definitely. And then, of course, this article from The Guardian, his now fiancé, Harry, later shared a photo of the ring, adding, "Okay then." Bosworth retweeted the picture. I mean, oh my God, it's almost like the news is basically just reiterating what's on your Twitter timeline. Like, Bosworth retweeted the picture. Like,
I know.
Of course he did.
We couldn't believe it. I mean, that evening we went out for dinner with my parents, a few friends, my family, and me and Harry. We had to turn our phones off because they were just going crazy with all these notifications and everything. Since then, I've had to switch all my social media notifications off because it was just unbelievable. I think the tweet reached 1 million people worldwide, and I just couldn't believe it myself.
Okay. Now, and unfortunately, turning to serious times in the U.S. and abroad. So, in the Evening Standard, you were talking about the fears of abuse on social media, and that's something that all of us here in the community understand and have firsthand experience with. Can you tell us about, without specifics, the type of abusive messages? Like what type of hate speech are you encountering?
Yeah, because the proposal and after my competition in Rio, it got so much publicity. You have to realize that even though there were probably in the tens of thousands of positive comments, with that massive exposure, it's going to bring a huge amount of negativity in comparison. I mean, the positivity absolutely outweighed the negativity, but there was a lot of kind of people who disagreed with equal marriage. They disagreed with me being able to propose to Harry, and I've said this publicly, that they used religion as an excuse, and yet it was completely wrong. Religion does not preach or does not teach that, I believe. Many members of my family are very religious and can still at the same time support me and Harry being together and celebrating love at the end of the day. That's all it is. Whereas other people want to try and use it as an excuse, and I will never ever allow that to be justified because it's wrong. Religion is about celebrating love and about supporting one another. So it's not right that people should use that and give religion a bad name, because that's not what I think it's about at all.
Thank you, Tom. I certainly agree with that. And just to be clear, is there anything threatening? Like, do you or Harry feel unsafe, or is it mostly just kind of the anonymity of people on the internet that want to throw negativity, but nothing personally threatening? Like, do you feel safe right now?
Yeah, I do, absolutely. And I think because Harry was thrown in the deep end, really, and exposed to a lot of media, all of a sudden he found it overwhelming a bit, and he mentioned a few of the negative things that happened, or that he was messages he was sent and so on. But luckily, thankfully, Team GB and our sporting governing body, were really supportive. They said if you receive anything, just let us know. We'll get on top of it, which is fantastic. But as we've been seeing stories from the US right now, and how kind of LGBT hate crime is increasing, which perhaps that's due to your recent election, but that's really concerning, and that has a big influence on the rest of the world because of the status that the USA has on kind of the liberal way that we live. I'm telling Harry right now, we're really lucky in the world we live right now, but that might not be forever, and we might actually have more tough times yet to come, and we've got to look out for ourselves.
Sure. So I have two questions for you, Tom. So you brought up the U.S. election, so I'll skip to that question. Here we go. This is really emotional for some of us. Are really feeling it. You got to understand. So on November 8th, the United States and Americans went to the polls, and in what many consider to be a great upset against Secretary Clinton, our country elected business mogul and reality TV star Donald Trump as the 45th president of the United States. In the week or so since this unprecedented election, major U.S. cities across the country have raised their voices up, protests, #NotMyPresident. Can I ask you, Tom, what is the perception of the United States and our election and President Trump across the pond? Like, how does Great Britain and your community kind of see us right now as a result of this election?
I imagine it's very similar, and Trump has even mentioned this himself, very similar to the Brexit that we went through. But if in any way it can help, a lot of people have said over here in the UK, since Brexit, all these things are going to happen, it's going to be terrible, and a lot of things have clearly become much clearer, and that really it's not worst case scenario. And we've already seen Trump go back on a number of things that he's already said, and thankfully he's not a dictator. Thankfully, a lot of his beliefs and his desires we'll have to go through Congress, and we'll have to go. It's a long way to go, and there's a big link there with Brexit and how people were thinking the worst as when Trump was elected. I think most of the world was fearing the worst as well. I hope to God that's just an initial reaction, and that there's still some people there who will be involved in the decision making and will have common sense. I think that's what we believe. But we know your pain, we see your pain, and here in the UK with Brexit, it was a massive deal, and that's why I think we weren't that surprised to see Trump elected, because 2016 has turned into quite a bizarre year.
Yes. And of course, and on that note, in a recent interview with Attitude, Sir Elton John admitted that he doesn't like living in Britain anymore, or at least right now, because of what he's describing as the level of hatred that has swept the country since Britain voted to leave the EU. He's quoted as saying, people have been okay about gay marriage and things like that, and then suddenly they're not. Do you agree with Sir Elton John, and are you feeling the same way, that attitudes in Great Britain have suddenly changed as a result of Brexit?
I really don't. I don't see where this has come from, but perhaps he's seen it more than I have. Thankfully, the circles that I work in have been very, very supportive, and nothing seems to have changed as much. But I guess at the end of the day, there's a minority that suddenly feel empowered by this sudden decision. But it's not like the rest of Europe have said the same, that we, by being part of Europe, we support equal marriage, but if we're not, then we don't. I don't believe that's a common thought, and so I'm surprised by Elton's words. I haven't experienced anything myself, but he must have experienced something himself, because at the end of the day, he wouldn't have said it without some sort of meaning behind it.
Yeah, he might have his finger on the pulse of something in the community there. Now, I would want to be, in all due respect, with what the social media and what the fans have said. I followed your social media, and I noticed that some of your own personal fans, regarding your coming out story and everything, said, "Does anyone talk about your athletics and your racing anymore because of all of the coming out?" So I want to make sure that we do get your profession, your sport in. Will you tell our listeners what was your competitive scores from Rio? What were some of the end results from the Rio Games?
Well, yeah, I competed in the 20K, and I went in ranked 37th in the world, but I led the race for the majority of it, and ended up 6th, breaking the British record. So it still hasn't sunk in for me, and it's that great message that's come across, that like you can be anybody, you can be yourself, whatever your background, it's irrelevant. You can still perform on the highest stage, and as you say, I didn't want coming out publicly on television last year to define my career, and I hope throughout this 2016 season and hopefully next season I can carry on this success. And so many people said they watched the race and were sat on the edge of their seats screaming and cheering me on, and that's exactly why I love competing for my country. And at the end of the day, next year London is holding the World Athletics Championships, and so I get to compete in front of Buckingham Palace, which is going to be amazing on the Mall there, and I can't wait.
That's great, and I know that you have, shall we say, some rigorous training routines that you go through to prepare. Is that fair to say?
Yes, I'm training 2 or 3 times a day, every day. Sometimes I have Sundays off. I sleep in an altitude tent. So that's a tent around my bed. That's changed the oxygen level to much higher, and also train up at altitude. I'm coming over to Flagstaff in America, hopefully, and I'm also training in South Africa soon. So loads of intense training coming up.
Definitely, that's intense. And is it fair to say that you can't necessarily eat all cheeseburgers? Like, you've got to have a special rigorous diet as a professional race walker for the Olympic Games?
Well, I have to. In a way, I'm lucky, I guess. I get to eat about 4,000 calories a day, but I do have to be careful of where I'm getting those calories from, and I have to be constructive and have to make sure I'm getting my fruit and veg in, and just keeping healthy and injury free. Nutrition is all about that. Many people think, you've got to eat really, really, really strictly, but actually, it's more about getting a balanced diet and keeping my calorie intake up. But at the end of the day, I'm averaging about half a marathon every single day. So unfortunately, it's not the same for everybody.
Yes, definitely. Well, so the London then, and that's going to be in summer of 2017.
That's right. That's next August. Yeah.
Perfect. So you got some time to prepare. Well, congratulations on Rio and absolutely getting engaged with Harry. That's just incredible. I see this as such a success story that you've maintained your profession in the Olympics, come out, and aside from what we said was a little bit of backlash on social media, the press has been extremely kind and given this coverage. Sincere congratulations to the both of you, Tom.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a fantastic journey.
Okay, well, we will continue to stay in touch. This is our new show and our new network. It's called LGBTQ America, but we are all inclusive. So thank you for coming to us from across the pond.
Thank you for inviting me, and have a great day.
Okay, Tom Bosworth, thanks for speaking with you. And once again, folks, you've been listening to LGBTQ America. Thanks to our listeners in the United States and around the world.